What?
Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome.
We are back. We are drafting once again. Shout out to the Fantasy Points YouTube subscribers. This is YouTube only program. Scott Barrett and I are joined by the great Rich Hribar. Rich, you joined us on a bunch of School of Scots this offseason, and we're going to reward you with $1 million. We're going to split it 3 ways. It's going to be awesome. We're in the 7th spot. Scott, this is a spot we haven't drafted in yet, so this will be fun. Rich, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great. You know, week 1 is here. Started writing up games. I've been doing a lot of drafting on FFPC the last week. I actually just drafted a team 2 nights ago from 7. So let's see if it goes in a similar direction.
We're gonna do a little better than that other stream.
All right, beautiful.
Just a little better. We see Brock Bowers go off the board at the 101. He was in our queue, so we're already getting a little bit different. It's their draft-a-thon today. If you want to join into the FFPC draft slate, use the code POINTS. You'll get $25 off. Great way to enter in and try it out. If you're in Vegas, come up and say what's up to me. I'm drafting really soon, Scott, Thursday and Friday. So Chase goes, guys, we got in the queue 5 guys, so we're in good shape. Scott, what do you think about the Brock Bowers at the 101?
Yeah, that's interesting. How many times have you seen that?
I've been seeing it. I think people are mixing it up and they're realizing that. I would imagine that there's going to a lot of like volume drafters, and some people are going to get no access to Brock Bowers, and they keep drawing spots where they're not going to get them. Keep drawing 8 spots, keep drawing 7 spots, and they're like, you know what? I want to draft Puka Nacua with tight end eligibility, so I'm going to take Brock Bowers at the 101. So I can see it. I have a 104 in a main event, and he's definitely one that I'm considering. And structurally, you're also crushed when you're at the 1 spot. A lot of times you don't get Kittle at the end of the 2nd round. So you're sort of in a structural dilemma at the tight end position. So I get it. For me, it's just impossible to pass on Jamar Chase at the 1. And if I'm going to pass on Jamar Chase, it's probably I'm going to try to mix it up with like Bijan or Jahmyr Gibbs if I drew a bunch of 101s. But we're 2 picks away here, guys. Bijan and Christian McCaffrey go off the board. I would imagine Jahmyr Gibbs goes here. He does. Okay, guys, we can talk about it. Scott, you might get your way tonight. You might get a.
Well, this is why we're doing a big gorilla instead of a main event. It just makes it easier to bully you into.
Well, you don't have to bully me because it hit us right in the tooth on this one. We got a CeeDee Lamb at the 107, sort of a gift here. And Christian McCaffrey's off the board. So, Scott, are we good with CeeDee Lamb? Rich, are we good with this one?
Absolutely. Smash it.
All right. Scott, good?
I mean, how awful is this defense, right? They're like, we said this 4 months ago that Dallas is like NFC, Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah. And I mean, no Micah Parsons. Who's hurt? Which cornerback is hurt? Is it Deron Bland?
Dallas is going to be in shootouts constantly. And a big question in the chat, why did Brock Bowers go 101? What's the roster format? It's tight end premium. So at 1.5 point for every tight end reception for the FFPC is sort of the challenge. So if Brock Bowers has 110 receptions, he can outscore any single wide receiver, even if Jamar Chase goes nuclear. We've seen it with Travis Kelce in years past. Trey McBride also goes at the 108. CeeDee Lamb, guys, in the NFFC drafts, I added a few CeeDee Lamb shares. I've been taking him at like the 104. I think he's in play at the 103 for a lot of NFFC drafters. I was in New York this past weekend drafting, and I definitely have my CeeDee Lamb bags packed. I think he's a steal at the 107. Scott, I know you have him as your wide receiver 2, I believe. Rich, did you end up ranking him wide receiver 2?
Yeah, and with the Caleb McGrary injury too, I think I've actually like in full PPR. I think he should be ahead of Bijan too at this point now.
Did you knock Bijan behind Gibbs after that injury?
I did not, still, just because of with Gibbs still we're flying in like this still like area of like assumption that he's going to get like this like be unlocked under John Morton, but I still like can't like quite fully get there. Like I just don't believe David Montgomery is going to get shadow round. And as good as Gibbs has been in terms of like a floor and ceiling play, like his actual games where Montgomery plays, like he hasn't had that like legendary upside outcome. Like he's under 20 PPR points per game in those games. So there's other guys that just have those locked in workloads like a CMC and a Bijan. I still think have that like, just baseline, higher outcome.
I did it. I flipped Bijan and Gibbs.
I love it, Scott, and that's where I'm at. I did it last minute too, and Gibbs I've been taking a lot lately. We did our fantasy points predictions as a staff, and I picked Jahmyr Gibbs to lead the NFL in rushing yards this year. I think he gets 1,800 rushing yards. I think he could break fantasy this year. We talked about his upside case on a bunch of these shows this summer. Devon Achane goes off the board. I saw him slipping a little bit in some of these live drafts to like the back end of the second round. Guys, we're in a classic running back versus wide receiver dilemma here. I'll throw Chase Brown's name into the hat too, guys, just to talk about. He's moving up boards. And then I see, Scott, you added A.J. Brown in. Let's see who this drafter takes. Basically, guys, I think I like kind of my guy at wide receiver. Puka Nacua, of course, is still there.
Who's your guy?
Drake London sort of flipped him with a lot of these high-stakes drafters in New York. We're pushing London ahead of Nacua. Chase Brown also, there was a ton of enthusiasm for him recently. He's sort of settled in as the RB6 in a lot of these drafts. I will say, guys, that the running backs we like in round 3 might be gone by the time we pick at the 307, just based on how things are going lately. If you wanted to break a tie with the running back, I'm good with it here. We can all. Oh, wow. This is getting weird, guys. The tourists are
a fun one. This is a fun one.
The tourists are in town, and we're ready to take their money.
Sophia, I made you have a brand new Honda Civic on Puka Nacua. Now I want you to have a, BMW on Puka Nacua.
Okay, I'm okay with Puka Nacua. I will say, guys, I'll throw London, I'll throw Chase Brown in. I'm just saying if we lean into Puka Nacua here, we might be looking at like we're in a 0 RB type build, which I know we're open to. Scott, this sort of opens you up to a Rashi Rice pick. I know that people might say, wait, you're going to take another wide receiver. But hey, if we take Puka Nacua, I'll say Scott. London or Nacua or Chase Brown. Rich,
who is your employer, Theo? Is it not fantasy points, which likes overall wide receiver 2 is Puka Nacua.
We're 10 seconds ago. Rich Hribar. Break the tie here.
I mean, do we 100% take Puka Nacua?
Okay, so we're taking Puka Nacua.
My 8th overall player.
Yes.
So I'm not a Puka Nacua hater. We took him in the first round of an FFPC main event. I'm just saying I think Drake London also has similar upside outcomes. Drake London doesn't have to compete with Devontae Adams, and Drake London, his quarterback is not, potentially missing some games. So
Chris Wecht is the projection czar of fantasy points, who does not like controversial takes. And if he has a controversial take, it is something he's meditated on for 70 hours. And he has Puka Nacua overall wide receiver 2. And I'm I wanted to make sure, he built in the Matthew Stafford injury. And I'm like, if Matthew Stafford retires tomorrow, where would you have Puka Nacua? He's like, I would have him wide receiver 4. I already dug into this, already thought about it, already meditated on it. He would be wide receiver 4. And so, Puka Nacua in round 2 is one of the best steals you can get in FFPC. Mid round 2, if anything.
I like Puka Nacua. I just think a lot of the upside cases for him can also apply to Drake London. I also think just on the structural argument, Chase Brown makes some sense here. The team 5 gets Gibbs, Chase Brown. There's some outcomes here where he gets top 2 running backs in this sort of PPR format. Rich, your thoughts on Chase Brown? Where did he sort of end up in your rankings?
Yeah, I haven't really moved him around. I mean, he's a little bit of a deluxe version of Kyren Williams, right? He's Kyren Williams with a little bit of reception work.
A little bit?
Yeah. A lot of it, compared to Kyren, right? You've got 2 players that are probably more volume based in offenses that we want attachment to, but aren't necessarily the underlying metrics aren't don't really jump off for either player. So we're just buying the offense, we're buying the value, we're buying the opportunity. So I don't have any problem with Chase Brown. I don't think he's an elite smash though either. I definitely think there's a little bit of Kai. I think because I think a lot of the arguments you make for Kyren are also adjacent for Chase Brown, the pulling the threads.
I get that one. I think that's a very interesting parallel with the Kyren Chase Brown. You could kind of say Kyren's discount. Kyron's also interesting, guys, because he sort of has been falling a little bit. I saw him go, and NFFC is start 3 wide receivers with a flex. FFPC is start 2 wide receivers with 2 flexes. So you have a little more flexibility in the FFPC, but Kyron Williams, I saw fall into the beginning of round 4 a little bit more. Kyron might be sitting there at the
He probably will be
307. He's been dropping. And shout out DKB. Yeah, it's a great start. It's a Scott Barrett special. It's a lot of targets. Scott, you might be looking at 320 targets, something insane here. So there we go.
Yeah, this is like a game within the game. I was talking to Abib about this when I went to his mansion here in Houston. And this is the best time to draft, especially late at night during Memorial Day weekend. You get a lot of drunk people.
Yeah.
So let's take advantage of them.
Well, always too, once we get to like this late in the summer, you start to see the running backs get more aggressively drafted every year. Obviously, it's not just like general population coming drafting maybe for their first times all year, but also just the clarity on every running back situation is kind of known right now. Whereas from best ball season all the way until now, there's some ambiguity that's always priced into some of these spots. This is as clear as the pictures looked all summer, and it's kind of made this. If you've been drafting a lot on FFPC. Like I have last couple weeks, you see there's like a huge firewall, like round 5 or 6. Like once Pollard, Pacheco go, it's like a wasteland after that. Like,
George Kittle still on the board if Team 1 wants to go with a purple start and go Bowers Kittle. I have some Bowers Kittle builds, guys. I want to throw that out there just like the flex stat. Didn't have to do it from the 101 though, Scott.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's nice.
Nothing too crazy in this first round except for the Lamar Jackson pick. You will not see Lamar Jackson in the second round pretty much ever in these FFPC main events. But yeah, sometimes you get this late in the year, you get to be sort of the silly season. I'd say just for the team picking at 8, I love Lamar Jackson, but I think that he could also be there at the 308 for you. So that's sort of why you don't make that pick.
I've also found that's my hardest build. Double elite onesies, I think, has been the toughest structure to build this year.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And there's some high stakes hitters out there who believe that as like that's something that they never differentiate from, Rich, where it's like, if I go early tight end, I don't go early quarterback. If I go early quarterback, I don't go early tight end. FFPC, the tight end premium sort of changes a little bit, but I do think like when you're in just a standard PPR league, that's a really, really tough putt unless you nail it. And Brock Bowers is like far and away the tight end 1, or Trey McBride in this case would be far and away the tight end 1, and then Lamar Jackson far and away the QB 1. Then maybe you can get it done. But if they're the QB 1 or the tight end 1 by a hair, you still might not have won that sort of bet. And George Kittle goes off the board at the 302.
AJ Brown, Lad McConkey, George Kittle, T-Hins. That was rough, but I mean, like that makes all the sense of the world to see that happen. The Lamar Jackson pick, like that, in September, late August, that's when the fish come out to play, and you see these, round 2 quarterbacks after not seeing that once out of 50 FFPC drafts.
One thing that's interesting, guys, and you know what, I'll get to it after we pick because we're 3 away. But I want to talk about one more thing that I've been seeing in drafts, guys. We have a loaded queue here, running a lot of running backs. I would personally love to get a bag of Travion Henderson here. I think Kenneth Walker might come back to us at the 406, the way things have been going a little bit lately. And I think, guys, Tyreek's also been hitting into the 4th round. Sometimes we also could go Jaden Daniels here, which I know Scott's high on. Josh Allen's still on the board. Rich, do you have a lean here structurally?
I mean, Omari Hampton's still there too.
I like Omari Hampton over Travion.
So let's go Omari Hampton. I'll just throw out one name here. Do we want to consider Tetaroa McMillan? Because
do we try to push him? I would love to take him here. I think we need the volume back. I think the volume back makes sense on this open.
So let's take Omari Hampton. This is a really nice start, really, really strong start.
Can we talk about Tet though? Because Rich, I sent you DMs and you left me on red.
Did I?
You left me on red.
Rich?
So we talked about. So you and I were very much harping on this. Was Ted McMillan. We were both very high on him as a prospect. There was like this weird period in, March and April where you're like, oh, I don't know that he's a top 15 pick. I think he's more of a late first guy. And you and I were both like, no, this is like a top 10 pick easy. And you and I both talked about like how freakishly elite he was from the slot. He was just never used there. And you were like, if he gets Drake London power slot usage, it is game freaking over. And so I'm looking at Carolina and I'm seeing Adam Thielen traded away, Jalen Coker on IR.
It's all coming
Ted
together.
McMillan, power slot usage.
Yeah, it's all coming together. Because unlike Marv, who only broke one tackle last year, that was in his collegiate profile. Like we had to take guesswork of Marv versus Malik Neighbors. That's why it was a real conversation of the era of the NFL that those two guys were entering. Neighbors, from an archetypical stance, was a player that was just more suited to combat kind of what NFL defenses and what NFL offenses want to do, where Marv is like more of a throwback Exus style receiver, like the AJ Green, Julio Jones, right? And he was coming to the NFL at the worst time for that. And there was none of that was alleviated in year one for him. But Tet doesn't have that problem. Like, this is a dude that broke a tackle on like 35% of his receptions. He can move around. He breaks tackles. He's really good with the ball in his hands. So I don't have like the Marv concerns of him from like last year. I think this is a guy that's going to absolutely cook.
Yeah, he's steamed up, guys. I took him in the third round a couple times in NFFC, and I think that the take that I've been having on Tetaroa, yeah, he goes. He's going to go in the third round, I think, all Vegas long. McMillan, like, why can't he have a 170 target Malik Neighbors type season? Like, we're constantly like, 145 targets. I think that's sort of like the reasonable bet for him right now, 150 maybe. But why can't he just go nuts and exceed expectations like Bowers did, like Neighbors did? I think he's ready to rock. And we've also seen Bryce Young hyper target Thielen in multiple seasons. McMillan's head and shoulders above what Thielen was at any point during his Carolina career. So I think that could go. We see Josh Allen go off the board. We're 3 quarterbacks in. Mike Evans goes off the board. Team 11's in a 4 wide receiver start. Now Terry McLaurin. Got a couple interesting players in the queue, guys. Kenneth Walker's still on the board. He's starting to slip in drafts. I sort of like taking him more inside of round 4 than having to push him into round 3. Tyreek's still on the board. He is slipping and slipping and slipping. Devontae Adams has been slipping a lot. I don't know what
we already took Puka.
Yeah, we can't double tap that. I will throw out. Does Scott Barrett let us take a Xavier Worthy share? Does he let me get one Xavier Worthy share on a shared team?
You got the wrong partner.
Oh my God! Okay, I'll make a prediction. Okay, so we're 2 away. I think we take one of the 2 ADP slippers here.
We take Kenneth Walker 100%.
We take Kenneth Walker 100%. Let's go, baby.
Well, I'll just throw this out. Rich, you were singing the praises of Tyreek Hill potentially as a 3rd round value, but
I know, especially on this team, like if it hits like a Lamb, Puka, like if Tyreek,
why would you take him when you can get Rashi in a round or 2?
Okay. I just know that we have a shot here to open CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, and then still get like 3
2 great running backs.
Really
Kenneth Walker is going to be a top 5 option.
I've been drafting Walker with you, Scott, a lot, and I've drafted him on a couple of my own.
You hate it, but I keep making you do it.
Well, I've been hammering Charbonnet as well. I think there's outcomes. I think they're both really good values. I think 4th round Kenneth Walker and I think 7th round Zach Charbonnet are both really, really good values. And in drafts where I don't get Walker, I'm very open to taking Charbonnet. On teams where running backs are flying off the board, I've mixed in a 6th round Charbonnet. And again, Scott, like we were taking Kenneth Walker, we took him together at the end of the 3rd. I think every week he's on the field, he's giving you exactly what he had last year, if not more. 16.5 points per game last year. We saw him take a big step forward as a receiver, but he's couldn't stay on the field in the preseason. And they sort of talk about him like a fragile veteran, like they give him a lot of rest. And I get it, but I think Walker, where we paid for him here, now we have a lot of balance with this team. We're sort of wide open with what we can do inside of round 5. And then Tyreek goes 1 pick later. Emeka Egbuka goes 1 pick later. Egbuka, it's interesting. The FFPC drafters let him slip a little bit more into round 5, where the FFPC drafters, there's still like a lot of steam and enthusiasm to push him into round 4. I actually thought that the prices for Egbuka, I got him at 57 overall in an FFPC draft. One other guy we're seeing slipping a lot. I'll just get your, where at what point in drafts are you considering Breece Hall at this point, Rich?
It depends. It's not like necessarily a spot. It's probably more of a structural stance. Like if I haven't like landed a running back that I'm really confident as my RB1, or maybe I took like I pushed Travion in the third, and I just want like maybe more of an upside pick. I don't think there's like I had this question in my chat of like how low is too low for Breece Hall, and I just think it comes down to what you've done structurally and how much you need to swing kind of for like that upside outcome on him. He has a few outs, obviously. He could just outright be traded during the season. We also could see, Justin Fields not play at some point and kind of slip out. So, but the offensive line is really good. I do believe in like kind of the situation a little bit, but it's the problem with, does he get goal line carries? And you're going to lose so many targets by default. He's not going to lose probably a ton of target share, but they're going to throw the ball 100 fewer times this year than they did a year ago when they were third in pass rate over expectation with Aaron Rodgers. Like Justin Fields is 29th in dropbacks per game since he's been an NFL starter. Like they're just not going to have that kind of passing volume.
I took him 58th overall.
Garrett Wilson is like a crazy draft pick still to me. Like I still can't believe people are taking this guy in the third round.
Yeah, well,
it's stat on him is that he's finished top 7 in total targets in each of the last 3 years, and outside of the top 30 in fantasy points per game in each of those seasons. Like that's almost impossible.
Yeah,
Rich, can you give
essentially the Robin Williams Goodwill Hunting meme where you just want to like it's not your fault, like it's not your fault, but also it's the same shit that we've dealt with him. Like he even has maybe an arguably worse layout this year, and it's because of DJ Moore roasting Emmanuel Forbes on Thursday night game 2-3 years ago that where he's getting steamed up that like Justin Fields can save wide receivers now.
Hey Rich, just in case Xavier Worthy falls to us, can you give the anti-Xavier Worthy rant?
Guys, if Xavier Worthy falls to us at the 507 with a free look with 6
I'll let you do it.
Scott, I'll say Xavier Worthy opens you up to Rashi Rice. That's the ticket. That's the ticket.
Rashi smashes him, but I'll let you do it if you let Rich go on a rant here.
I don't know if it's so much a rant. It's just, it's just so rich for a player that, I mean, he never even had 80 yards in a game last year until the final 2 weeks of the season. Like, I just don't know what kind of ceiling you're getting here. It's the same thing even with Jameson Williams, who I think is an exciting player in the same corollary, but like there were no spike weeks in a season where you had the Detroit Lions, be the 7th team in the 2000s that averaged 4 offensive touchdowns per game. And like, you still weren't getting like 25-point bombs, like from it's just really hard, especially in a structure like this where we care about like those outcomes. Like we want big games, man. We want big weeks. Like to me, I think Worthy, especially this opening 6 weeks, he becomes like that nice floor play with the added upside. If he can make that jump, he's going to be like a really solid wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, and could potentially be more if like the deep passing that they've talked for 3 years is going to come back. But what if it doesn't? But also their schedule is miserable. The first, like all these Rashi Rice games, the first month are awful. They have awful matchups. Like the first 4 games. And maybe the Chiefs are big enough to overcome all that. But I just don't think we're going to see the Chiefs come out in week 1 and be like this high-flying offense. Unless that field in Brazil is like it was last year and it's opening up all these splash plays. It's just real tough for me to see. I think he's more of a floor play. I don't think he's like a Tyreek Hill type player. It's basically kind of like my shorthand.
I really look forward to the weekly Xavier Worthy discussions on School of Scott. We're going to have it's not going to be the show. This is not a Theo versus Scott. This is Theo and Scott, but we're going to do a 2-minute Xavier Worthy recap for the week. So Scott can get his digs in, and I will remind Scott of when Xavier Worthy drops like a 20-pointer and all that kind of stuff. I think
wide receiver 24 is more like in the ballpark of I'm comfortable with him now.
I'm going to throw out, I put Cortland Sutton in the queue here, guys. And I know, Rich, you're very high on him.
Yeah, I have no idea who to take if not for him right now.
Well, everybody else there's a chance everyone else in our queue is available at the 606 because these get wacky. I will say that if you want to grab a tight end, Tyler Warren and Sam LaPorta could both be gone by the time we pick.
Yeah. It's okay.
Hawkinson's slipping, which is interesting. I got him in the 9th round of an NFFC draft. Just an interesting one. Scott, I know you're not high on him, but 9th round Hawkinson seems like a gift. I like Sutton here. I think Sutton opens us up to a Bo Nix late when Bo Nix in like the 11th round get a little correlation. Rich, you were all over Sutton when you came on School of Scott recently with us. And he gives us another clear wide receiver 1. It opens us up with multiple correlation type picks. So I would stump for Sutton if he's here at the 507. It's boring, but it's also like I think he's going to be 15 points per game with upside potential if that offense takes a step forward.
Ugh.
Well, and there he
God,
goes.
you
And
cursed
there he
us.
goes.
You
Okay, so
cursed us.
guys, there's a chance they all come back. I would say if we go tight end here, we're structurally going to like it a little bit more. I don't necessarily. I think both of those tight ends are 6-round values, but I think both of them would help this team because we're not going to be chasing the tight end position. That's sort of where I'm at. Scott, do you have a lean here?
I have no idea. I really have my heart set on Sutton. What do you think, Rich?
Yeah, I mean, I would have Pickens as the top guy on my board, but we already took.
Pickens is gone
Oh, is he? I
early.
missed
Yeah,
him.
he's
I'm
flying
sorry.
up.
Oh, I did miss
No,
him.
no problem.
Maybe that's why. But we had CD anyway, so I was gonna not have us push that anyways.
So we could push up Hunter. We could
What
push
about
up Travis
LaPorta?
Hunter.
What about LaPorta?
LaPorta's fine. You guys want to do a LaPorta share?
Yeah, that's
LaPorta
fine.
or Hunter? LaPorta.
Travis Hunter?
He might be there at 606. Let's take LaPorta. Okay, so we got LaPorta, which is like I don't think we're this is not like the most exciting. And I see the chat saying it. Golden's going to be there in round six. Hunter might be there in round 6. You get the structural tight end of LaPorta. I've seen you do this, Scott. You took him with Ryan Heath, Jacob Sanderson in your draft about the same time. I'm still not anti LaPorta. It doesn't feel like the edge of last year, but you're still getting a really good football player in a tight end premium format. And now we don't feel the pressure to hit tight end in the next few rounds. And we can get a bunch of this.
He's
Scott
going to
Barrett
go
tight end.
like within 10 picks of Kelsey and Hawkinson. And once you see that, I feel like that makes it look much better.
Well, I think Warren's the for me, it's LaPorta versus Warren in this spot. Because Warren, I think you get the upside outcome. I don't want any part of Travis Kelce. Dude's a billionaire. Dude's getting married. I don't want any part of him. And also, like the whole notion that Kelsey's going to be all front loaded because Rashi Rice is out. I don't know if he's got it in him. I think it's more of if you're as anti-Xavier Worthy as you two guys are, then there's some arguments for Kelce, but I just think Kelsey's cooked. I think he's dust. I'd rather take Tyler Warren, Sam LaPorta. So we see Kelce go there. I'd imagine Warren goes the next few rounds, or the next few picks, I should say. And that we're sort of open for round 6, taking kind of whoever we want. We're structurally pretty solid here. But I don't hate the LaPorta pick, guys. I don't hate it. Just it doesn't feel as much as an edge as last year. But Rich, you also bring up like Jameson Williams. If you're not into Jameson Williams, and I am into Williams, then LaPorta makes a little more sense here too.
It's just not a fun spot to be, like you said. I mean, in these, like the hotbed for these wide receivers is like this round 6 through 10. Like there's just so many good receiver picks that come off in that area. So it's fine to just kind of like either have your RB3 or RB2 by that point, and then just kind of just load up at wide receiver in that period. This is the first time I've drafted Sam LaPorta all year, so maybe it's just like coming in the 11th hour, and like maybe this was the one time I needed him.
Tight end 1 overall because you came on the stream, Rich.
That's right.
And when Sam LaPorta gets 2 touchdown catches in week 17 and we win $1 million, we're all going to be rocking LaPorta jerseys on School of Scott. It'll be a
to be fair, it was a super dead zone for us though. Like it was with Sutton coming off the board. It was kind of like, do you force a Breece Hall as your RB3? You don't really need to. Every wide receiver, we're kind of like in a flatter tier of wide receiver too. And then you know exactly what was going to happen. This is where round 6 is typically where the tight ends started to come off, like in that little bit of row, that little pocket of purple. So we knew it was going to happen anyways. So if you really wanted LaPorta, or like say you wanted Tyler Warren, that was probably the spot where you had to get him, because wide receiver got flat. We already have 2 running backs. Like you said, from a structural stance, it makes sense, even though it's not exciting.
I see somebody saying no Zay, no Devonta Smith. Those guys are probably going to be there in the middle of round 6. We're going to have those guys on the board. Devonta there's not a whole lot of steam with him. I don't mind Devonta. Scott and I did take Devonta Smith in one FFPC main event. We correlated him with Jalen Hurts. That was a nice team we had. Still a nice team, Scott. Still a nice team. We got to put in waivers this week on that team.
Ooh.
Waivers are back. Make sure you check out the Waiver Wire show on Fantasy Football Daily. Drop one with Joe Dolan, Tom Brawley, and I have an article coming out at Fantasy Points probably tomorrow that'll help out deep league managers with a preseason waiver wire run, some high stakes stuff in there too for you FFPC and FFC people. Okay, 3 picks away here, guys. Yeah, and we were right to go tight end, guys, because we see Tyler Warren, who I'm into, David Njoku, who I know you are still very high on, Scott. Travis Kelce, of course, old man Kelsey's going to go somewhere in this range. So the tight end run started a little bit, and we got our preferred one. So I think structurally we made the correct decision. Yeah, shout out to Brian Raymond. That's what I do on the plane ride to Vegas. It's just awesome. I sit there for like 4 hours and 5 hours on the plane ride to Vegas doing waivers. It's awesome. But it's the life we've chosen, Scott Barrett.
There's a wide receiver here who I think is like the most mispriced player in drafts, and we should for sure take. I think Rich agrees with me. I think you're going to say it's a little early. I don't know.
I just think there's a chance he comes back in the 7th round.
I don't want to risk it personally, but you have a better gauge on this than I do.
Okay, so I think if you guys both want to do it, Rich, like if you want to do it, I know this is our only 350 we're doing together. We can do it here, guys. I think it sort of changes us a little bit where okay, he's on the board, and Matthew Golden, a guy I was going to try to talk you into.
I mean, Chuba's an extreme ADP value.
Chuba's slipping. Chuba's starting to slip into this range a little bit. I think people have been listening to smart people like yourself talking about how his receiving numbers might have been a little fugazi and guys cutting in. If you guys want to take him,
it's the Ramondre layout exactly happened to him.
Do you want to take Rashi Rice here, Scott?
Absolutely.
Okay, and Rich, you want him. I will take
He's
Rashi
your wide
Rice.
receiver 3. Imagine if this team is pushing to the playoffs with CD.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm into it. And we have the right build for this, guys, because we're not chasing any position.
We're not chasing running back. We're not like.
But I will say what taking Rashi Rice does is it actually makes you I'm more likely to break ties in round 7 and round 8 with a wide receiver, because I do think like those 6 weeks matter. The one thing about Rashi Rice, we took him. I split a team with Nelson Sousa in the New York Super of the NFFC, which is the hardest draft of the year, and we took Rice inside of the 6th round as well. But NFFC, you don't have to worry about the playoffs of the FFPC, where FFPC, it's actually a very short regular season. So it's a 12-week regular season plus the bye. So you got Rashi Rice for 5 regular season weeks, and then you got him for the fantasy playoffs or the FFPC playoffs, and then you got him hopefully for the stretch run. So it's a tougher putt in FFPC format than it is like your home league PPR or the NFFC or the FFWC. So I will just add that little caveat for Rashi Rice. But hey, guys, we got Rashi Rice, CeeDee Lamb, and Puka Nacua.
So some background on how this all kind of came together is I watched you guys on a stream a few weeks ago, because as I was preparing to delve into my FFPC, because at the end of these last 2 weeks, I really am just drafting here. And you guys, Scott had pitched taking Rashi Rice. This is before the news of the actual suspension, what we were going to get. And you guys shot him down, and I sent him a DM and I said, you can always take Rashi Rice when I draft with you. And that's kind of how this started. He's like, well, when are we going to draft? And that's how this all kind of we started getting this thing in motion. So
I just needed another guy on my team.
We had to get him. We had to get him because this is how it all started. And to get him on a team where we already have CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua just feels so much better.
I mean, this is this is like a gift of a team right here. It's CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, Rashi Rice, Omarion Hampton, Kenneth Walker, and then Sam LaPorta is just like an absolute gift.
A big shout out to one of my draft partners, Andrew Schellenberg, one of the better FFPC managers around, and a noted zero RB enthusiast. We split a team at 9 a.m. on Thursday. We draft the FFPC varsity together with Dan Williamson. He says Rice is a much better wide receiver 4 or 5 than wide receiver 3. This is what I'm sort of talking about, where I actually think Rice is the hammer for a hero RB build or a zero RB build, where you're sort of already pushed to the chips in, like the one we did with Abib, Scott, where I actually think it makes more sense to take him structurally, where we would have had a wide receiver 3. So if
we're still going to get another good receiver, though, we're probably going to get 2 more good receivers.
It's a good point, but you're starting to see Keon Coleman come off the board, Matthew Golden. So people are chasing the upside receivers.
Keon Coleman,
there's plenty of wide receivers left on the board that I feel like Rashi Rice being our 3 versus our 4 as the way the draft dictates it. I think we're still going to have plenty of depth at wide receiver.
Listen, it's a champagne problem, guys. We're talking about structure on a team where we have 3 guys who are 30% target share guys in the playoffs. And if Kenneth Walker holds up, and I think that he's fantastic, and Omarion Hampton, Scott, I made the bold prediction on the show with Jacob Gibbs and Ryan Heath. I said, actually, no, excuse me, it was Graham Barfield and Ryan Heath. I said Omarion Hampton, I think, is the fantasy playoffs hero. 6 touchdowns in the fantasy playoffs, including
Ooh.
3 against the Dallas Cowboys in week 16. And Hampton, I think, is going to be in the conversation for 2026 first round. And he's got to have to do that in the back half of the year. So I like that we got Hampton, Walker. We're wide open in this round. I would break ties to wide receiver because we're so strong.
Oh yeah, we're taking a receiver. We're taking a receiver.
We should take a receiver.
Unless.
I mean, there are like 5 or 6 receivers I'd be like thrilled to have still.
Yeah,
like
I agree with you. There's a number of guys who project to potentially be the wide receiver 1 on
and
their
none
team.
of them were Jerry Jeudy. So
hey, I'm kind of into Jerry Jeudy.
I like Jerry Jeudy too. Rich, you're a Jeudy hater. I would have never pegged you for that. I think he's gonna have a decent year. You don't like him?
yeah, I think he'll be decent, but I just think when we eventually get Dylan Gabriel, has anyone looked at the Browns schedule? Have you looked at it? Dude, Flacco might not make it out of September.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Very good point. But
and then also so much of Judy's production was not Jameis Winston related. It was because no one else was playing on the Browns at that point. After they traded Amari, Jerry Jeudy ran 152 routes with both David Njoku and Cedric Tillman off the field. On those plays, he had 37% team target share, 32.2% target rate per route run. But he ran 184 routes after the Cooper trade with both Njoku and Tillman on the field, 19% target per route rate, 20% of the team targets. Like, this is a team too that I believe they're going to be bad enough to where they're going to have some passing volume and it's going to be increased with Flacco. But this is a team that definitely, I think, structurally wants to play closer to the vest this season under Stefanski. There's a reason why they got a second tight end.
Oh, I was dreaming.
I know. Pearsall was the dude, and Rome.
Well, I will say Rome would have been great. The fourth player, the fourth player on our queue, I don't think we consider. I don't think he's great here. I think he'll probably be there in round 8 because I don't think the market's adjusted on him. I think we're looking at one of the top 3 guys here. I'm also going to throw out. DeAndre Swift into the conversation, which I think he's a bridge play to Rashi Rice because you can stick DeAndre Swift in the flex. I think he's going to get considerable volume, and I think he's also going to be a pass catcher. So I think if the wide receiver at the top of the queue is off the board, I'd like to consider him. We're going to know in a second. We got like 4 great picks here on the board here, guys.
I like the tight end personally. I know
he's going to be there in round 8. I think he might be there in round 8, and you don't need him with the what we just fell into with.
I mean, it's tight end premium double flex.
Okay, so Olave goes. I think that the pick is DeAndre Swift or Jordan Addison. I would also take Deebo Samuel as a bridge to Rashi. Deebo gets off to a hot start for 6 weeks, and then he sort of hands off the baton to Rashi Rice in week 7. I think would work out well. I think Swift is interesting, guys. I know I said we needed to break ties to wide receiver, but Swift I think is interesting. You know what, Scott? If you really want Colson Loveland, we can cram him in there. I think it's Addison or Loveland.
No, I don't think we need to do the tight end. If we wanted Loveland, we could just take.
Let's take Addison, who again, Addison's an impediment. It's just 3 weeks, but I think Addison's awesome in the 7th round. Scott,
Swift is the firewall guy. Like if we don't,
I think it's Addison or Loveland. Running backs, I'm going to.
So Addison or Addison. Okay, Addison or Loveland, Rich. Quick.
I don't really love either of these guys. I'll let you guys pick.
Okay, so let's take Addison.
All right. Hopefully Loveland falls. You don't love Loveland?
No, I love Loveland, but I'm
talking to Rich. I
didn't love him on this team. I didn't want to take a second tight end already.
Why not?
I would have rather taken.
That's the thing is like you're like, oh, we need a wide receiver because of Rashi Rice. We really don't because it's 2 wide receiver, 2 flex.
Well, Swift. We do need another wide receiver though. You can't be. You have to have because the wide receivers. The reason you need to cram in early is they get steamed and the guys get taken and like the wide receiver like you'll start seeing the last possible drafted wide receiver that you feel has like a pathway. Those guys are going to start being gone.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb has a week 10 bye and Puka Nacua has a week 8 bye. So like as long as these stay healthy, we don't need a wide receiver. So you have the tight ends in the flex.
Well, we're coming up in the 8th round. We have to think a little bit of early season because again, we did the Jordan Addison, Rashi Rice, 0 RB drafter siren call where we basically have 2 zeros for week 1, 2, and 3. So we're okay. but we need to start thinking early season production here. And I'll just say the one thing about Loveland is
early season production's cheap. Nick Chubb goes in round 18.
Also, having 2 suspended players doesn't really mean anything to me. I just don't love the I don't love Addison as much. We talked about when I was on the show with you guys.
You can't add Nick Chubb to this beautiful build,
no,
Scott.
we're not doing this. But also, layering the suspensions doesn't matter to me. I don't think that's even a concern either.
The reason I keep bringing it up again, it's 12 weeks in FFPC. It is a short season. To get to week 13 and week 14 for the playoffs, you get the top 1, top 2 seeds, or lead the league in scoring. So we need to, and then of course you get the 3 seed or the 4 seed. You're still in the mix, but I would rather wrap it up with being one of the top 2 seeds. So just saying, guys, like, for instance, I think that 8th round, 9th round, let's keep in mind, what can this guy do for us early in the year? Just get us to Jordan Addison, Scott. Just get us to Jordan Addison. Love Stars says we should have gone Ricky Pearsall over Rashi Rice. What do you say about that, Scott?
I feel good about Rashi Rice. I mean, I love Pearsall. That's one of my guys, but like, we're guaranteed, I don't know, it feels like low-end wide receiver 1 production from Rashi Rice whenever he's on the field. Pearsall's nice too, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Pearsall. Rashi Rice is the haymaker, man. We want to play for the Ducats. The Ducats. By the time we get to the fantasy playoffs, there still is a range of outcomes for the 49ers where Ricky Pearsall is like 4th in targets on that team by that point. I don't think the probability is like super high, but it exists, right? If Brandon Ayuk's back and he's playing well by that point in the season, if Jennings playing well, obviously if CMC is still playing, like that exists in the range of outcomes. Like at worst, Rashi Rice is going to be probably the 2 target and probably still be the 1. I mean, it's the Puka Nacua thing from last year, and Puka was hurt. You didn't have Puka for 8 weeks last year, and you needed him. He was the guy you needed at the end.
So, guys, we have a bunch of guys in the queue here. I threw one other player in, Scott, that we've been drafting. I just moved him up into the top 3. I'll say there's one player here that never goes inside of round 8 anymore. Would just be an interesting conversation to have because he never goes in round 8 anymore. He's been living in round 7 lately. We've got some nice guys in our queue here, guys. Some very nice ones. We're gonna hold tight here.
Circling back from like the structural stance, the reason why I was kind of with Theo on Swift is like it's a clear firewall, and like we can just ignore running back like largely till we are throwing.
But I don't want to do that. I think there are 2 rookies later on who are 2 of the most mispriced
we'll probably
players
get those guys anyways.
Oh my God, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna get
again.
Okay, listen.
You know what you signed yourself up to.
I know.
This is why it's not a main event.
I know. This is why we're doing it. I think he goes in round 10 though. I'm just going to make a little gentleman's bet here that he's not. You don't have to do it in the 9th. We can round 10. I think it's great. I think it's great.
Well, the thing is, I like both, so I'm fine making that calculated bet.
Okay, so we have 4 guys in the queue, and I think all 4 guys are really interesting discussions here. What happened to? Did my guy just get taken? Hold on, let me look at this board.
Tucker Kraft?
No, there's
Diggs. That couldn't have been your guy.
No, there's. Where did he go? Okay, so we have 5 guys in the queue to discuss here, and we have 2 picks to go.
I see 4.
I just added a 5th guy in there because he never goes in round 8.
I wanted a tight end, and then you said he's going to fall, and so I assume that meant.
Oh yeah, well we'll take him. Scott, we'll take him if he's there.
No, he's gone. He's gone. But
we didn't necessarily blow it because he did fall to round 8. So we judged it, but we just missed. It was still a reasonable bet.
I took your guy off the queue. We're in a tournament style format with $1 million prize. You want to lean into upside is my thinking, but I have no strong leaner, so you guys can.
Okay, so I'll say he never, ever goes. Well, we're on the clock here. I mean, I think that it's an easy pick for me with Deebo Samuel here. We need a wide receiver. He's been the number 1 guy in camp. The vibes are there. There was a quote today about how the running back room, there's all these different voices coming out about the running back room, but they made a point saying they're also going to give Deebo rushing attempts. I think Deebo is going to smash to start the year, and we need a bridge to Rashi Rice. I think Zach Charbonnet is interesting here, Scott, because he never goes in round 8. And it's not necessarily just a handcuff. It's also a handcuff where if Walker goes down, he could be 18 points per game. So I think it's Deebo here, guys, unless you want to talk me off of this one.
I like Deebo here.
Yeah. And Scott, you've been on Deebo too.
Yeah, I'm not fighting you. I don't know why you're
no, so let's talk about
my thing with Zach Charbonnet is just in the tournament style format where you have $1 million grand prize. You want to lean into upside rather than safety. Drafting a handcuff on a Walker team is a safety pick to me. That doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But the reason I would say is because Charbonnet, he's living in round 7. He's made 6 round appearances. And getting him with a little bit of like ADP discount here kind of takes the edge off. I'm just saying that the only reason I would argue for this one, and I'm saying we did the right thing. I'm saying that it's a reasonable conversation because the Clint Kubiak offense could be so special. You could end up with 19 points per game every single week out of your RB2 position, where some of these other, and I know you sort of like to like you talk about like I overrate handcuffs and all this kind of stuff. I get it. But Charbonnet could be this year's Chase Brown if Kenneth Walker misses time.
Then he makes perfect sense for a team that doesn't have round 4 draft capital invested in Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, it's fine. No, and guys, Scott and I have to get a couple arguments in round 8, 9, and 10, and the rest of the draft we always sort of agree on, guys. But it's just sort of for the vibes.
It's always round 8 through 11.
8 through 11. This is the 10th time. But guys, Deebo Samuel, I love getting him in round 8. I think this is a really, really fun one. Rich, what are your vibes? What are your vibes-based takes with Deebo before even your realistic projections?
I mean, I think this is the one spot where he could have left the Kyle Shanahan offense and gone to a landing spot that was going to utilize him the ways that his strengths are. He was still really good tackle breaker last year. He was good before the pneumonia. People have dropped like those splits over and over all the summer. But what you really like is that, Jaden Daniels, 26% of his passes at or behind the line of scrimmage. Washington, 3rd in the NFL in screen rate to wide receivers. From 2019 to 2022 with Arizona, Cliff was 2nd in the NFL in screens to wide receivers. One of the highest slant rates in the NFL in this offense. So just to fit there, then you get the McLaurin stuff. He's missed off camp. We've, Ryan, at your guys' site has highlighted this too. Like these guys that have missed training camp the past couple of years have gone off to slow starts. That kind of coincides with what we want to do coming out of the blocks, trying to fill in for these 2 suspended guys. It all just kind of lines up. Plus, you get the little bit of the rushing. That's one of the things with Krosky Merritt that's been hard to really juice him up is that think about this at Washington. They led for the 7th most snaps in the NFL last year. They're not sneaking up on anyone last year or like this year like they did last year. But even though they led at the 7th highest rate of snaps, they were 19th in running back carries. And now we might have this guy in Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt who is on a team that probably has 125 to 150 non-running back runs between Jaden Daniels and Deebo Samuel. He doesn't have a pipeline to catch passes because Austin Eckler has that role. And then what if he doesn't score touchdowns if Chris Rodriguez has that role? So now he might just be the lead, the touch count leader of the backfield because he's just getting the least important fantasy touches, which are rushing attempts. So that's what's been really hard to kind of steam him up, even though I was hammering Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt at the start of this offseason. It's just a bummer to kind of see how the tides have turned.
Yeah, I buy into that a little bit where it's like I get it. I see some of the quotes coming out, but I do think it's Chris Rodriguez kind of feels like when Nick Sirianni wanted to put Kenneth Gainwell in, and then it was like Gainwell's the starter.
Rodriguez is not a bad. He was not a bad prospect though.
Not bad, but again, what's the hit rate on guys who were drafted in late on that day 2 that didn't do anything their first 2 years in the league to sort of break through? I actually think like the Krosky Merritt combo with Austin Eckler has been sort of viable because I think if both of these sort of guys fail, Eckler could be interesting. You bring up sort of the low ADOT targets that are a big part of the offense. Eckler's really cheap. You could end up getting like a 13 point per game, super cheap running back in Eckler if those 2 guys don't hit. And I'll just take the Krosky Merritt sort of, and people are hating on this. I've been a Krosky Merritt guy. My bags are packed on Krosky Merritt, guys. I took him the other day in an NFFC primetime high stakes draft. I'm still drafting him. 100% still drafting him, but I understand what Rich is saying. Our bags are packed though, Rich. You got him early drafts.
No, I mean, I would draft him in a ton of early leagues. I think he's still fine and like largely in best ball because you guys are still going to run some stuff. But I think in managed leagues, he's going to be a headache.
I get it. And I think you might get a first couple of weeks doesn't happen. But I think that the fact that they moved on from Brian Robinson is directly because of Krosky Merritt.
Right.
This sort of been my take. Yeah, friend of the program. Shout out to Scott Barrett for the work that he does right after the NFL draft. He puts in the one of the hardest working guys in fantasy this year. Did a lot of cool stuff.
We did a podcast with C-Rod back in the day.
Did you?
You also broke the quote, Scott. You were the one who broke it open with the Eric Bieniemy was the reason he was drafted to Washington. You sort of got that out in the fantasy streets, and a lot of people just sort of copy it. They don't even give you credit on that; they just say it. But I'm giving you credit. So we're looking at the queue here. We're pretty loaded here. There's a lot of options. I think that Jawan Jennings is interesting. Goes off the board. I don't think we necessarily need to take a QB here. I do think Dak Prescott is super interesting for this build because we have leaned into CeeDee Lamb. We also get a double free look bet. I think it's a little early for pick number 3. I think that just looking at this, Dak Prescott, we get sniped on. So the QB run's going to come pretty soon here. We can wait on QB. There's only 2 other teams we'd have to dodge here coming back around. So I think we're okay to wait on QB. What's your lean here, guys?
You know my lean.
Don't you think he comes back to the 10th round?
Bruce knows my lean.
I think he comes back to the 10th round.
This is what drives me crazy. We're talking about a player who should have been off the board in round 7. And we're like, let's play the ADP game. You draft 15,000 teams.
Yes.
So
I see him go in the 10th round all the time now.
That's right. He's an extreme value in round 9.
But again, you could get him in round 10. If you cannot live without him, then I guess we can cram him in. But I do think there's
one thing I have going for me is I'm really good at identifying like the key guys to draft. My Exodia plays is why people spend money on a fantasy point subscription. This is the one guy no one agrees with me on, Rich. The one thing is, there's another rookie I really like who goes like 6
why don't just as a game theory thing, wouldn't it make sense to change up your exposure and go with the other one?
No.
You just want to go all in. You want 9.
You just hammer the plus EV decisions. Diversification is a myth. It is a minus EV move. We don't do that. Rich, we have the strong lean here. Do you have one?
No, I'm okay because I know you want to take Cam Skattebo. So
let's take him. Let's take him for the vibes based. And we do have the 2 running backs, so we don't need any production out of Cam Skattebo week 1. The case for Cam Skattebo is Tyrone Tracy fumbles and Tyrone Tracy drops passes like he did last year.
It's just they drafted Cam Skattebo to be their RB1. Amazing prospect profile. He went day 3, sure, but it's the best running back class since 2017. This is the team seems very high on him. Perfect archetype of player for fantasy football where he's amazing at the goal line, catches a ton of balls. Tyrone Tracy, converted wide receiver, sucked as a pass catcher last year, couldn't hold on to the ball, ton of drops, ton of fumbles in the doghouse at the end of the year. They drafted his replacement, and yet Tyrone Tracy goes 4 rounds earlier.
Did you call him Scam Skattebo by accident with a Freudian slip?
I probably did, yeah.
So listen, guys, you're getting in Scott's head. Scott, I'm betting on Cam Skattebo. My bags are packed, and the 2 of us have 3 Cam Skattebo FFPC main event exposures. Now we have a big gorilla exposure to him. So we're betting on Cam Skattebo here. I do think that
this is what I said. This is what I said. I said week 5 on a podcast. So I'm like, week 5, we're all going to be calling him Marshall Chalk. And then someone was like, we're either going to be calling him Marshall Chalk or Scam Skattebo. So that's what's going to happen. Rich, where do you stand on this? And where does your son, a fellow Giants fan, stand on this?
I'm into him in this area. I think where we were in that spot, if a gamer like Scott has that much conviction on a player, and we're talking about taking like what other guys there, like Josh Downs, Christian Kirk or whatever. Like if he has that much conviction on a player, why not let him swing away on it?
No, I like this is just friendly banter.
Like, are we
here.
gonna be mad? Yeah, like we're not gonna be mad.
Yeah.
Like if we like didn't get Cooper Kupp, right? Like
Well,
or like
like the Cam Skattebo is a running just a very simplistic. He's a running back that if he's on the field is going to catch passes. I think he's got a baked in floor in that regard. And yeah, Scott's right. The production
and
in
you
college
want him to
was
get the goal
unbelievable.
line stuff eventually, which he probably will. I mean, even in the first preseason game when they did have Tracy in the whole drive, they pulled him for Devin Singletary inside the 5.
I am
like,
gonna pound. I'm gonna pound.
Wait
the
till
table
that
here
happens in week 1 when Devin Singletary scores a touchdown.
I'm gonna pound the table here at the 10:06 guys, where Ollie Gordon feels like Jordan Mason last year, where there's Devon Achan's banged up. I still like Devon Achan. I know Scott does. I know Ryan Heath. Everybody likes Devon Achan. And I bet Devon Achan bags are packed. But Ollie Gordon is going to be a 70% fab bid player in FFPC, NFFC for a reason. He's this year's Jordan Mason. He'll get running back 1 production out the gate. And Scott, the double combination of the Exodia running backs, not necessarily necessary here. I think Gordon, there's 2 other guys.
And
then he goes
off the board.
So
I was going to
I'm
throw
gonna-
a hissy fit, but
yeah,
now I don't need to.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of smart people on Gordon in this range because it's not all handcuffs are created equal, guys. Ollie Gordon.
That's what I say. That's what Abib says. That's the fundamental philosophical difference between them.
And Abib, if he was on the show, shout out to Abib. Please jump in the chat if you're watching. Abib would say take Ollie Gordon right here with our build because it's a hammer pick. And if we look at the side of the board here, guys, there's the teams coming up behind us. 5 out of the 6 have a quarterback. So we don't feel any pressure to get our quarterback here. Team 3 could even double tap quarterback and we're still going to be okay. I think Ollie Gordon, if he's here, we kind of roll with it. And if Devon Achan has any sort of a setback, you're talking about 20 touches a game, instant flex value. He's going ahead as Cam in some of these drafts, Scott. Rich, do you have any problem with me hammering away at Ollie Gordon?
I feel it's very similar to the layout of Scott. Like if you believe in that player this much, then there's no reason to say like let's push around or let's do something. Like let's just add him to the roster. I'm okay with it. We're in another spot where it's like the ceiling all or nothing guys like are very thin right now. It's not
I think Ollie Gordon, like I don't think, let's put it like this. I don't think Devon Achan plays every game this year. And I think every game he's out, Ollie Gordon could be at the very minute, like, and I'll say that to kind of lower the tide here. I think could be this year's Zach Charbonnet, where we look back on the year and Ollie Gordon has like 4 strong RB1 weeks. I think he's interesting here.
We just had 3 Browns running backs taken in 4 picks. So
guys, it's getting weird in this draft board, and we're not recapping it, guys, because this is a YouTube only show. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to Fantasy Points YouTube. Helps us out a lot. Doesn't cost you anything. Scott, we crossed some interesting numbers the other day. Shout out to the audience. We went past 20,000 YouTube subscribers. Big shout out to Trey Camberling, Thomas Tipple, and the unbelievable team at Fantasy Points. And we added 200 more subscribers since we crossed 20K. So we're looking to get to 25K early on in the year, Scott. That's sort of the next benchmark for Fantasy Points.
Yeah, one must think Theo Greminger was a major part of that.
The
while
YouTube audience.
While I give you your flowers, I have to say I strongly disagreed with the Ollie Gordon pick. I think we should have taken the player who went 1 pick after Josh Downs. Why? Because fundamentally, philosophically, I believe all handcuffs basically created equal. Might as well get the cheaper guys. So you take an Ollie Gordon here. What's the difference between that and taking a Ray Davis in 3 rounds, a Tyler Algier in 4 rounds, et cetera?
Okay,
Andre Stevenson, who has probably more standalone value on a week-to-week basis, no injuries occurring.
Well, Devon Achan's already banged up. Devon Achan already has a similar sort of injury
he's
to
fine.
Christian McCaffrey.
I talked to my sources.
Listen, I hope your sources are right, because my Devon Achan bags are certainly heavier than my Ollie Gordon bags, but I'm trying to add it up. And I'll say what's interesting is, Scott, you got some props. I was in New York, and I see a bunch of guys I see once a year or twice a year, actually. Some will be in Vegas. but a very good high stakes manager, Matt Modica, came up to me, and he's one of the co-hosts of the Fantasy Empire, which is a really good high stakes pod. Came up and said, "Yeah, you know, I'm with Scott Barrett on this Josh Downs. Look at my," and he uses fantasy points data. He's like, Josh Downs. He's like, all these other guys are arguing with me. I'm still on Josh Downs. I'm drafting Josh Downs. But there's a lot of smart people right now, sort of, that are on Tyler Warren train, and I think Tyler Warren's going to have a really good year. And then, Rich, there's also people making the argument that Michael Pittman Jr. is going to be sort of back to being the wide receiver you want in Indy. Rich, if you could draft, let's say, take cost out of it, take ADP out of it. If you could draft one Indianapolis Colt receiver this year, who are you drafting?
I would probably lean, like, no cost aside, probably Warren, Pittman, then Downs. Downs is the best player, though. That's what hurts my soul. But he's just at such a disadvantage.
Bro, Rich, you had a Antonio Brown comp.
I know, and I still believe in it big picture. I actually even said on the Dynasty show with on your channel with
Dynasty Points
with Ryan and Jacob and like that. I actually believe Josh Downs not these next 2 years doesn't outscore Rashi Rice, but over the next 10 years outscores Rashi Rice in fantasy points.
Wow.
Guys, we've got an interesting pick coming up here. I threw Baker Mayfield in the. Well, what is it not that interesting, Richie? Just because you don't like the guys in the queue, or you think it's a clear guy in the queue?
Yeah, I didn't check the queue, but I think there's a dude that we'd podium pick, right? Oh yeah, he's number one on the thing in the queue.
Yeah, okay. So I'm good. I'm good with him here too. And
let me pull it up.
Yeah, Scott and I have him. We have him in quite a few places, and I think that I've been drafting the hell out of him, so you don't have to twist my arm.
Pittman's another one of those like solid glue guys, I think, just because he can get obviously Daniel Jones can be a proxy of Gardner Minshew, 2023 Gardner Minshew, and you can just stack like those shitty 14-point PPR games.
Dallas Goedert goes a few picks ahead of us. He would have been interesting because you get the free look. Dallas, Philadelphia. A lot of times you're watching that first game, guys, and there's always like one surprise.
Yeah, but how much do you overvalue that though? Like at this point in the draft, like, are you gonna like factor in seeing the guy play Thursday versus Sunday?
It has a little bit of factor. It's more in the last 5 rounds, rounds.
Exactly.
God, are you kidding me?
Okay, so
both guys, the Dak gamer. Not only did they get Dak, they got Drake May.
Okay, I think, guys, those are the two guys we wanted.
Those are the two guys we wanted.
Okay, I do think that Baker Mayfield is an interesting value here.
Oh man,
it's not like
that really sucked.
Doesn't ruin our draft. There's a bunch of quarterbacks, and I will say that we're not a single QB build. We're already in round 11. There's been sort of an interesting draft strategy going around with some really kind of some smart people this year that used to never happen. Abib actually will do this sometimes. A couple other the NFFC guys are doing it. Where it's like triple tapping quarterback, getting one free look guy in the back half, and then sort of letting week 1 be a guide, maybe week 2, then cut one loose and sort of have 3 taps. I think that Baker Mayfield, though, guys,
why would you take Dak and Drake May? Fuck that guy.
Well, guys, we're OTC here. I think it's Baker Mayfield.
I don't want Baker Mayfield. Can I use my one? Do I get one?
Yeah, but the guy who's next on my queue is Luther Burden, who I don't know that he fits with the Rashi Rice.
Not really.
No, he doesn't. And you have Jordan Addison. I don't think he's the pick here.
I think I would take Mooney here out of all the dudes.
I feel like it's not really necessarily an edge to take Mooney here. I'm fine with it if you have conviction on him, Rich, and that's like your guy. I do think that we can't necessarily keep pushing QB around. If there's a QB you guys see
then I would still rather have the.
Okay, so do you want to take Justin Fields for the rushing upside?
I would probably rather
let's take Mooney for you, Rich.
Okay, I would probably rather have Fields than Baker.
Explain why you want Darnell Mooney.
Well, because this is a team that I think structurally is just going to have to throw. They don't have any depth. They didn't add anyone this offseason. He's going to be out on the field literally for basically 90+% of the dropbacks while he's available. You have built-in contingency upside because when you look at all the wide receiver ones, it's only Drake London, Neighbors, and there's one other guy. Like none of the other wide receiver 2s in those teams go anywhere near like the top 40 wide receivers. And so you get that contingency upside. You got a guy that's probably going to run 600 routes at face value. You can just plug him in if you have a bye week, someone gets hurt, you're going to get target value. He's paired to the quarterback that wants to push the ball downfield too. And if London misses any time, dude, they've been playing Ray McLeod.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to. You're so sharp, Rich. I just wanted to hear you explain it. I took Darnell Mooney the other day in the 9th round of the NFFC live in New York, so I'm with you. And it's sort of I think
he's the best wide receiver pick at ADP. Like if you just factor in like cost, I think he's the best pick like in terms of cost.
Yeah, and I think he's a consideration for us in week 1. We're going to talk about him. We've talked about Zach Robinson, Scott, Brett Whitefield and I, we did the pod with you where we both talked about Zach Robinson as the guy that we think could be this year's Liam Cohen, the guy that we sort of start seeing like in head coaching jobs next year. I believe in Zach Robinson. I believe in this offense. I have plenty of Drake London bags, plenty of Bijan Robinson bags, but I think Mooney makes a lot of sense. And it's again, very good structural pick. I think we've actually caught up at wide receiver with Deebo and Mooney. I do think
this injury, I know that no one wants to really talk about Kyle Pitts, but this Caleb McGarry injury is huge for Kyle Pitts. Like this is a team that's going to need now because not only did Caleb McGarry get hurt, but Storm Norton also got hurt, who's their swing tackle. He's going to miss almost 8 weeks. So they're going to need more help at that spot. So like a guy like Kyle Pitts, who has no blocking resume whatsoever, and he actually just got out snapped by Charlie Warner the back half of the last year because of his blocking. Like that injury absolutely impacts him as well to open the year. It's a big deal. Like this Caleb McGarry injury, like people are not talking about it. Like this is a pretty big deal for this Atlanta Falcons offense. I mean, Bijan Robinson, first of all, had really kind of wide splits with and without Drew Dahlman, who left in free agency. And now Caleb McGarry, like this is a team that literally ran outside zone right side 150 times last year on the right side. And, their running backs, 5.6 yards per carry, 57% success rate running over Caleb McGarry's side. Bijan had 96 of those carries. He was at 5.3 yards per carry, but runs to the middle, to the left, 4.5 yards per carry. It goes down to a 43.5 point success rate, like almost, a 16% drop. Over the left side, it gets even worse, 4.1 yards per carry. Like this is a massive injury, man. It's not getting talked about. And we've seen like these tackle injuries be like kind of like really be like just throw a rudder into offenses. Like we saw Trent Williams last year when he went down. We now have Rashawn Slater out for the year. Obviously, they get to move Joe Alt to left tackle, but they do have to do a little musical chairs like Pipkins at right tackle. Now McCreary being out, who is the blind side tackle for the Falcons, so they have a left-hand quarterback, but his run blocking is significant. Like he's a dynamic run blocker. I saw Brandon Thorne, he had the Falcons offensive line 13th, and with the injury moved him to 23rd. That's how big of a deal he is in terms of being an anchor and what structurally what the Atlanta Falcons want to do.
I think it's going to open up more pass catching opportunities for Bijan Robinson, which is.
I mean, I'm not saying like Bijan's going to fail. I'm just saying it's a big injury though for the like in general for the offense.
Okay, so guys, we see Chigakonkwo go off the board. I will say we've already pushed quarterback.
Yeah, now you can take Fields.
Well,
wait, instead of Baker.
Okay,
I still want Baker.
I'll say Baker Fields combination would be.
Dude, imagine we're in like the fantasy championship.
Guys, Baker Mayfield had 40 passing touchdowns last year.
We don't get down to those touchdowns. None of those touchdowns count for points.
I know. And the whole touchdown rate with Baker Mayfield, but we're not having to take Baker Mayfield in round 8. We're talking about Baker Mayfield in round 12.
This is the guy you wanted 2 rounds ago. I'll let you take him. And I will say this, Rich. Even though you and I are both like anti-pocket passers with a career high touchdown rate, it's like imagine where, in the tournament rounds and we're looking at this big gorilla and it all comes down to Baker. Is there a more fun quarterback to watch with your money on than Baker Mayfield? I don't know that there is.
He's not going to be our only quarterback here. We're going to take a second quarterback with this build. Joe Mixon pick in round 12. I saw him falling like an absolute rock in New York, guys. So Baker Mayfield goes. I will say that we're a tight end. Another tight end is something we should add relatively soon.
I was planning on. I'm hoping in the next round we can get a Luther Burden.
Oh yeah. If he's there, we'll take him, Scott. But I think we're
just going quantity over quality at tight end, where Jonnu Smith, I know we already have shares of. I think he's interesting. Harold Fannin.
I like Harold Fannin a lot. I like Jatavian Sanders very late. I think that Theo Johnson late. I think that this is a year where Joe and Tom and I talked about this, where I feel like it's going to be a big waiver wire week at the tight end position, because a lot of these guys are going to be like full-time players and they all have sort of pathways. I'll say there's one tight end in our queue though, Scott, that in the 13th round is a really, really good value. And I'm gonna throw one other tight end just for maybe round 14, since we sort of have a swing for the fences build.
I will say we had a big debate over Terrence Ferguson, and then I went to a Beeb's house with the 1st and 15 crew, and I really sold him and Deo on T Ferg as the ultimate last round pick in FFPC.
Yeah, you get the free look with Terrence Ferguson. Excuse me, you don't get the free look next.
Brandon Aubrey off the board. There goes our Exodia kicker.
That's another thing. Well, the Exodia kicker is still on the board. Brandon Aubrey, he's getting overdrafted for Exodia. But what's interesting is we've seen Denver defense and we've seen Brandon Aubrey steamed so high in some of these live drafts where people are viewing them as ultimate edge picks at the position. Where I've seen
every year,
it happens every year. It happens every, and once in a while they're correct on it, Rich.
Also, everyone that you talk to, like what defense the target for week 1, everyone is always telling you to get the Cardinals. Like everyone's like Cardinals.
Oh yeah.
And every time I hear that, I'm just like, damn, James Conner's about to cook the opening month. Like every time someone says something about Cardinals defense, I'm like, oh, so you really tell me James Conner's going to cook
right. That's a great point.
So Luther Burden goes. The dream is dead, Scott. I'll say that we have a couple of interesting structural options. I like the 2 running backs in the queue. I'll throw sort of my running back in the queue, but he's probably a little bit more.
I'm sure I hate them.
Well, I know you hate every back. You hate every backup running back.
That's right.
I think we are looking at players 1 and player 3 in the queue, which I know, Rich, you like one of them, and one I like.
I like both those guys.
Okay, so I think both of those guys would be sort of the no-brainer add here because they help us out structurally. It gives us a little bit of upside. The only issue is we'd have a double bye, but it's eons in the future, and it's not during the playoffs, so we wouldn't necessarily worry about that. Really, really fun draft so far, guys. Just reviewing our team. This is one of our most fun builds recently, Scott. We haven't argued that much either. It was a little brief arguing, and we've sort of been running pure. So we're
everyone's
Mayfield
got a little piece
quarterback
of this one. Everyone's got to put their little thumbprint a little bit on here.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great drafting with you, Rich. I wish we would have done this more often this offseason. Maybe next year we'll get a main event in with you. But Baker Mayfield, quarterback, we got him super late. Omarion Hampton, Kenneth Walker, Cam Skattebo, Ollie Gordon, CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, Rashi Rice, Jordan Addison, Deebo Samuel, Darnell Mooney, Sam LaPorta. So we get Deebo Samuel and Darnell Mooney as sort of bridges to Jordan Addison and Rashi Rice. That'll be really fun, guys. So we have a pretty scary wide receiver room. Only 1 tight end, only 1 quarterback, and we're only at 4 running backs. We probably need to add a few upside handcuff types. Really fun. And I'll also bring up the free look guys. When we get to round 17, 18, 19, 20, some of those free look guys can be in play. So if you see an edge pick at defense or kicker in round 15, 16, guys, not afraid to pull the trigger on one of them, because again, we're going to have an opportunity to run the waiver wire and get some of these guys that might not be drafted but have some upside cases if we do get some of these free look guys. All right, so we're 3 picks away here, guys, and we're sitting pretty strong here. We've got 2 guys in the queue that we really like. We just need somebody to take somebody else, and we're gonna get one of the 2. Scott,
I would be 3 versus. I just think that there's so many more now that you already taken Baker. I feel like there's so many quarterbacks we can still get and feel really strongly about.
But the upside rushing case.
I know
for Fields separates himself from the other guys. When we're looking to get huge ADP wins in this range of quarterback, it's usually like a Scott Barrett type rushing upside,
or it's a Shanahan guy,
or a Rich Hribar Konami code.
Yep.
And I think that you got the Upside Wins Championships, and we got the Konami code guy in the house, and I have to talk you guys out of 1,000 rushing yards at the quarterback position in round 13.
Yeah.
But Brenton Strange is fine with me too, guys.
Justin
I'm
Herbert,
literally
JJ
fine with both of them.
McCarthy.
My thing is that when you comparing the other two positions, I actually agree with everything you said. It's just that Strange is like if it's not Strange, like who else is it?
Yeah.
Well, I will say
at that position.
There's a bunch of guys. I think that it's either Strange or we're gonna maybe take 2 or 3 more of them.
Dude, Strange could be top 5 in routes run at the position.
Okay, so let's take Brenton Strange because neither one of you guys seems too excited about Justin Fields, and that's fine. There's going to be some other quarterback options. And also, I don't think Baker is just falling off of a cliff this year. He can regress and still be a QB1. And I think we're a sum of the parts team. Let's take Brenton Strange. I'm going to throw a few other guys in. I really like that value, Scott. This is our second Brenton Strange selection that we've made together. We took him on a team with a B-Bag Batoba, and there's been nothing but positive vibes coming out of Jacksonville camp. I actually think there's some weird scenario, guys, where if there's a bunch of injuries in the defensive backfield for Jacksonville and Travis Hunter has to play additional snaps as a cornerback, it actually Brenton Strange would be the one to benefit because there's been some vibes in camp that he's sort of just as good as Evan Engram was. They're going to use him a lot, and all the beat reporters seem to be very high on Brenton Strange. So I like getting him as our tight end too, especially only doing it in the 13th round. Scott Barrett, feel good about that pick?
I feel good about it. Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm
I like
just thinking about how if we draft a quarterback in the next round,
all that matters at tight end is you get a dude that's a good athlete and runs a ton of routes. Like if you just get those two things, you let the fantasy gods take the wheels. Like, because all it matters. If you look at all these tight ends that like kind of have these pop-up seasons, even Evan Engram, the only year he was actually really good for fantasy, because he has a bunch of like people will cite like tight end overall finishes, which don't really matter. But the one year where he was actually really good on a points per game basis is because he led the position in routes run. Like, right? Like and then sometimes you get the holy grail marriage of like Bowers last year, where you have like an uber talent that also runs the most routes, and it's just like, all right, good luck combating that. But like if you just get a good athlete that's just going to be on the field running a ton of routes at tight end, like that's enough to create an opportunity for a guy to be a tight end 1+ at a low bar position. And I think that exists for Strange more so than a lot of the other like tight ends that go like tight end 15 to 25.
I think this next pick, guys, is quarterback or the running back that I have in the queue, where if the guy in front of him goes down, I think he'd absolutely be electric for a few weeks. I also threw a quarterback at the bottom of our queue that we now have correlation with. And I think that we like the offensive court. Well, Rich, you don't necessarily. But
he's one of my favorite quarterback picks too, man. Especially like we already bet his touchdown passing over. It was like one of the first bets we placed on the site, like when it opened. I mean, again, dropbacks. Their opening schedule is awesome. First 2 weeks, you get Panthers, Bengals. What more do you want to plug a guy in to start off?
Yeah, I'm sort of with you, and now we have a little bit of correlation. We'll talk about it when we get OTC because I think this is a really interesting pick, and I think
he's getting played in DFS. Everyone's going to play him in DFS these 2 weeks, but no one wants to draft him.
I've been drafting him, Rich. I've been drafting him.
I appreciate it.
So I think he's a perfect QB too, and he can suck though, Scott, and he can get sort of manufactured into production, and also he has a little bit of rushing upside. And we saw last year the quarterback with the same offensive coordinator set a career high in rushing yardage. The same year he set a career high in passing yardage and passing touchdowns. Maybe it's a trend.
Well, and we've seen it's structurally too, the way he's done it, I think is what you're excited for and what you saw. And it's the preseason. We don't want to go crazy, but it's what we've seen in the preseason. I mean, it was the quick passing game. Baker had his quickest time to throw since his rookie year. All the Baker faults when he held the ball still existed. And all we've seen this entire preseason is the same thing. Get the ball out of your goddamn hands, Trevor Lawrence, and let our guys do work. And like, that's
I think you're getting outvoted on this one, Scott. I think it's Trevor Lawrence if he's there. We also need a QB2, and there's a QB run right here.
I would have caved up for Justin Herbert, but I'm fine with it.
Now, I don't mind taking Justin Herbert if he's there in round 16, and I'll just point out why. It could be a 1 week bet, but you get the free look And then if he doesn't have a huge game on, you leave him in your lineup. And on Friday, if he puts up a really big performance, we leave him in the lineup and we don't worry about quarterback. So I'm saying this doesn't preclude us from taking Herbert because of the free look element. That's like what I'm saying, Rich. When you get to this point in the draft, Herbert's interesting because if that game flies over, if we get the same thing with Philly and that we had with Philly and Green Bay last year, So, okay, let's take Trevor Lawrence.
And look at the pretty pattern we made with the.
It's gorgeous. It's
the
aesthetically
purple in
pleasing.
The middle,
for sure.
surrounded by the red. But
if anyone in the YouTube chat needs me to scroll back up, just say so because some people join the chat. But I'm going to roll it down a little bit just so we can see the last few picks.
No, I think that makes sense. We're going to outright want to play him the first 2 weeks over Baker Mayfield, probably too. Probably most of the front half of the season.
Yeah. So I like what we did here, guys. We recovered at quarterback. We didn't reach on quarterback at all. Didn't panic. Got Ollie Gordon. Got Cam Skattebo. Got Darnell Mooney. And then still were able to get a really solid tight end 2 with upside and able to double tap the quarterback room with 2 guys that I think are interesting. I think we need another running back or 2. I think some of those handcuff type players, obviously defense, obviously kicker need to get covered. But structurally, this team is in really fine shape. Joe King likes it. Shout out to Joe King. He's been in every single FFPC stream. Shout out to the really, really sharp fantasy points listeners and viewers and readers. One thing I've been super impressed at coming over here is just how knowledgeable the base of fantasy point subscribers is, Scott. And just you built this awesome thing here. And I'm so stoked to be a part of it this year and hopefully, keep helping fantasy points. I think it's going to be a huge year for us. I think we're going to get a lot of hits.
It already is. Do you know who Vandelay Industries is?
I think I've drafted against him a few times.
Yeah, I definitely recognize the name. Definitely a FFPC.
Seinfeld reference too. Very interesting Seinfeld reference. Yeah, very.
But someone thought they were drafting against John, and John was Vandelay Industries just because all the picks they made were like typical John picks. But I don't know. Anyway, yeah, you guys gave me Cam Skattebo in round 9, and I feel like since then I've been chilling. I got my way on that, and
and Rashi Rice, Scott. This is a dream draft for you.
That's right. And Kenneth Walker.
Nakua.
And Kenneth Walker.
That's right. This is what I told you.
We all sort of.
This team has the potential to be an absolute unit.
This is what I told you when we did the Abib draft. I said like the most mispriced players on FFPC right now I'm seeing are Kenneth Walker, Rashi Rice, Cam Skattebo, and so we got those guys. We're off to a killer start.
Okay, I agree. I really, really like this build and not just sort of lip service because we're drafting it together and I'm talking it into existence. I think this is a very strong build. We just see let me see this. Okay, so I'm going to throw a couple more guys in the queue, but I sort of like the way this is breaking for us based on what we need. Let me pull this up. I put a one position at the top of the queue, which I actually think in the 15th round is an edge pick. I've seen them go rounds higher. It's set it and forget it type category. There goes Harold Fanning, guys. We got 2 more tight ends in the queue. I really like the running back in the queue. I think he's a very interesting handcuff type where you're talking about if the starter goes down, I think he's north of 15 points per game in a great offense, and we could use a running back. So I'm pretty open with this one, guys. I'll also throw one more handcuff type in the queue. I know you're not so crazy about the one I just added, Scott.
I mean,
you sort
fine.
of push back on is he the handcuff?
We're this deep into the draft. That's fine. Rico Dowdle went. Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, that's the barometer. Has Rico Dowdle been drafted? Any player you want to take after him?
Who's your favorite handcuff, Rich? Do you have one?
What definition of handcuff are we prescribing?
Just RB2.
Let's say handcuffs that are available after round 11, not like the guys that are getting steamed in around 10 or
guys
higher.
That are available after round 11.
Yeah, like your traditional handcuff territory.
I think just standalone value, probably Shipley would be my favorite guy because I just think he's really good. I think he's a really good player too. He's a really good pass catcher.
Yeah.
And then obviously just
I think if Saquon goes down, AJ Dillon comes in and gets 12 plus carries.
I mean, either way, Jalen Hurts is rushing in the touchdowns. So
right.
I don't think AJ Dillon's like, because you'd always be worried about a guy like AJ Dillon for something we talked about, like Chris Rodriguez and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Like, does this dude run it to the 5 and then doesn't get he gets varsity blues? Like, AJ Dillon doesn't matter. Like, because Jalen Hurts is the dude. Jalen Hurts gets to score all the touchdowns.
Guys, I'm going to pound the table for a particular pick if they're here.
Is it at the top of your queue? Because I love it.
Yeah, it's the edge, and it's set it and forget it. And I really hope they don't get.
And don't forget who's doing waivers on this team.
Yeah, this is. I'll handle the waivers, guys. I'll handle it. We'll have a nice.
If we took a tight end, we could make another pretty pattern. That would be. We
could. Okay, so they killed us on that one. I actually
Keaton Mitchell too. Oh man.
Yeah, no, Keaton. Our queue just got decimated. So we had Keaton Mitchell. We had the Denver Broncos defense, both in the queue. To me, the best handcuff option back on the board is Taj Brooks. 15th round doesn't feel great for him. I would say we could go back to the tight end but again, some of these guys might be there in another round. We are very, very flat here. Structurally, do you have a opinion here, Rich or Scott? Say a position that you'd like to add if you see one.
I would just say Justin Herbert's interesting, just because you brought it up before.
Let's take the free look, and let's bank the free look. This might be they might come out and look really, really good offensively, and we might say, guys, we want to just carry 3 for a few weeks. I think that it's interesting. You've actually seen it's sort of I'll say Dan Williamson's been doing it. I'll say that Nelson Sousa's done it a couple times. I've seen multiple really sharp guys in high stakes. Abib Agbatoba has been doing this for years, where triple tapping quarterback in a 20-man roster used to sort of be like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. But when you wait on quarterback like we did and we do it, and you have the free look element, it's sort of let's make a bet that out of these 3 guys, 2 of them are guys we want on our roster for the entire year. And Rich, you said it yourself. If Trevor Lawrence looks like complete crap against that front-loaded schedule, see you later, Trevor Lawrence. We'll see you later. And if Greg Roman wants to play caveman football for the first 3 weeks of the year, we'll say, see you later, Justin Herbert. Right. We liked watching you in Brazil. So at least it'll make that opening Friday super, super fun for us, guys.
Yeah, and don't forget with these teams, is like on average, teams are dropping like 2 players in week 1. And so Justin, one of these quarterbacks is a guy we're dropping, and we're so okay with that. Week 1 is where you want to be adding and dropping players.
It'll probably be the first quarterback we drafted.
100% agree with you. Yeah, but we'll enjoy that. We will really enjoy that Friday game, and we will be rooting for him.
Here's what I'll say about Baker Mayfield, Rich, just to keep I know. Is Brett Whitefield had his top 32 quarterbacks based on film. He had Baker in the top 10. Separate from that, we had the same time they were writing this article, Scott DiBenedetto, who was a scout with the Browns for 10 years, now writes for Fantasy Points. I asked him to give his overrated, underrated quarterbacks. He was like, most underrated quarterback in the game is Baker Mayfield. He would be top 10 for me. Didn't see Brett's article. And so a lot of film watchers, ball knowers, very high on Baker Mayfield's talent. Don't think it's just elite.
I would agree. I mean, he really only had like that one like really bad season where he floated from when he first left Cleveland to Carolina to the Rams, that double year where he got released midseason. Because the last year with Cleveland, he played hurt the entire year. Like he played injured.
Yeah.
With that shoulder injury. And then the year before that, they were 11-5, had made the playoffs. Everyone was feeling great, right? About like the trajectory. They finally figured it out. And then he comes back and has back-to-back really good seasons with Tampa Bay the last 2 years. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. It's just, again, like the way I structurally play these pocket passers that have these spike seasons. And their opening 2 months are so bad. Like you're just not going to feel good starting him. In so many of these games.
And it's also like, guys, Michael Penix.
We're OTC here. I think that the pick is, for me, Jatavian Sanders to get our tight end 3, because I think a lot of the pro Xavier Legette arguments for early season with Coker off the field, I think Sanders could be a guy that's heavily added in waiver wires. I don't think he'll be there in round 20, round 18 anymore. I think it's taking Sanders or taking Theo Johnson. I threw Kate Otten in the queue because we have the correlation, but I'd be
Is
more excited
Tremble
about Keandre.
out for week 1, Rich? Do you know?
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to. I haven't seen it for sure. Did he get put on NFI?
Who is
I have
that?
to check. Tommy Tremble.
Tremble's not going to. I don't think Tremble's going to be anything. I think JT Sanders, but
take Sanders then.
Yeah, I think I have a
big question.
Good conviction on him. Yeah, I think
he got. Let me see now because I was trying to see if they officially put him on.
We got him here. I'm going to throw one free look
practicing. Guy. He's practicing.
I don't think he's anything, guys. I think
no, but he's a run blocker, is what he is.
Yeah, he's a run. I'm going to put one guy at the top of the queue for a vibes-based free look, and then another guy in the second guy in the queue, which has a little bit of upside. And I think if his usage is better than expected in week 1, I threw two guys in the.
I don't see any upside for any wide receiver on the board now that Dante Thornton went.
Personally. Well, again,
I'm gonna move this running back all the way up. How about that?
Okay, I like that. I like the running back in the queue.
All right, nice.
I like him. You don't have to twist my arm on that one, but I do think the free look is the free look.
The free look's the free look.
Yeah.
Listen, we remembered what happened last year in Brazil. I will say that Keandre Lambert-Smith.
I'm saying if that field is anywhere in the shape it was last year, that's the only thing that can maybe make the Chiefs look like the Chiefs a couple years ago.
I will throw one more player. I moved him up in the queue, 17th round, just a strong structural pick. And
I have it that game last year because that field, because no defender could stay on their feet. 27 plays of 10 or more yards, 12 plays of 20 or more yards, 6 plays of 30 or more yards. Like it was just like no one could. It was just splash play delight in that game because nobody could stay on their feet.
Rich, who is your favorite late round lottery ticket? Upside play. Brashard Smith.
I do like I do take a lot of Brashard Smith, especially on here because like Theo said that the free look's the free look. So,
and also he's good.
Also, I think he was underdrafted as far as like I'm no NFL scout. But I thought he was undervalued from where he went to the draft, where I thought coming in he would go, because this is a player I thought that offered like he wasn't just a pass catcher. Like I thought his rushing profile was better than people had assumed. And then you come with that just elite like special teams and big playability out of the receiving game. I thought it was like, and then he goes to the Chiefs and you're like, oh shit, are we about to get Darwin Thompson again? Like, you just can't like shade those ghosts, but it's such a good fit for like what they want to do that it makes sense for him to get on the field. I mean, even that drop he had that last week of the preseason, like if he's able to catch, like that's the type of stuff you're excited about, right? Like even though it was a drop, it was a tough catch. I don't know if I would label it like a full drop, but like we want him to see him make that play more than you don't, but just getting used in that capacity on that like inside wheel route downfield, like to get a 20 yard target from Patrick Mahomes. Like this is the stuff that starts to make it move a little bit.
Do you like him more than the most talented running back in the Houston Texans backfield?
I can be on board. And it's funny is that Brashard Smith gets drafted after we talk about all that. My Texans take, and I did it with Ryan too, and I was on him, is I really think structurally they're going to throw more than anyone thinks that they're going to do. I think
this is what keeps me up at night, Rich, is like, how high should I be on Christian Kirk and Jaden Higgins? Is it like, because I bump them up in my rankings and I'm like, should they be like wide receiver 33 and 34 just because like that's a valuable role. Stephon Diggs.
Christian Kirk is legitimately undervalued. And the reason I say that is because he's not a puddle jumper slot receiver. Like he's a huge ADOT guy. Like he's averaged over 9 air yards per target every year of his career. He gets shot plays. Like he's a dude that wins vertical. He's just not like, he's not Tyler Boyd. Like this is a dude that's like, he's winning downfield and he can play outside in 2 wide receiver sets too. Like he's not just like this tertiary slot guy. This is a guy that is like legitimate juice. He needs to stay on the field.
Their nickname for him in Houston is the Slot Demon.
That's right. Is that his nickname or is that Evan's nickname? I don't know where to start.
That's what they've been called. Like the cornerbacks have been calling him. Kalen Bullock. First thing I noticed is hands. He's got real strong hands, great routes. slot demon. That's what we call him. Nico Collins and Christian Kirk, slot magician, slot magic. He in the slot going crazy.
Because Nico's going to play in the slot more too. Like they're all going to play. That's the beauty of this offense, this Nick Caley offense. I think they're going to run a lot more 11. Because my concern for the guys, the non-Mixon running backs that we're trying to sort out, is that this offensive line I don't think is good enough to make any of those guys good. This is like King Moonracer built this offensive line. Like these dudes have washed out everywhere. Like dudes like Ed Ingram and Cam Robinson and Laken Tomlinson. These dudes have all failed in multiple places. Like this is just not a good group. It's going to be masked by schematics and giving CJ Stroud actual agency. I mean, what a concept, letting your quarterback be involved with like calling protection and be adjusting plays.
Guys, we're one pick away. I'll throw out that the Minnesota Vikings defense is a defense I think is very good. And also Minnesota, if you look at the schedule, guys.
I like the running back. I feel very good about the running back. I'm going to cape up for the running back personally.
The running back might come back around. I'll just throw you the schedule.
Yeah, kicker's going to come back around.
I would still rather have the running back than the defense. If you're
okay, so let's go running back then. But I will say we'll go over the. I'll just say for the Minnesota defense, you get the Bears in week 1, Ben Johnson's first game on Monday Night Football. Then you talked about the offensive line injuries in Atlanta. They get them in Minnesota. Then week 3 is a difficult one against the Bengals. But again, it's in Minnesota, and the Bengals offensive line might struggle against that front seven.
Arizona's still on the board, though, right?
Then you guys get Pittsburgh. Then you get the Cleveland Browns. So that front-loaded schedule for
Theo
Minnesota
just doesn't want to have to set stream defenses with that.
I think it's streaming defense.
I'll tell you what, Theo, if they're here, you could do it.
I think streaming defense is optimal, but again,
I'd rather have the starting running back for the Houston Texans in week 3 and beyond.
I just think if you had a running back you liked, if we were at like a spot where we didn't know to pick, I'd say we'd go ahead and just do it. But Scott clearly had a guy he wanted on the roster. Yeah. And like always use that. If you want like a skill player versus a defense, you always take the skill player.
I'm liking this relationship. This is like, we're in divorce proceedings and you're like the official mediator, or like, you're like our relationship therapist or whatever. You're trying to bring us back together. Where it's like, Theo, Scott had a running back he really wanted here.
It's the balance too. We're also we have a really good front-loaded running back room, but we're a little bit fragile in terms of total running backs. So Damen Pierce gets us to our 5th running back. That's about as light as you ever really want to go in these sort of builds. And I actually don't feel the pressure to take another one. I'll throw one more free look guy into the queue. Kareem Hunt, guys. It would be very tilting for Isaiah Pacheco managers, but Kareem Hunt is effective in short yardage. Maybe he gets the goal line work, guys.
Yeah, if you get the goal line work, you're not getting the RB1 role.
But again, it's a 1 week bet here, and it's in round 18, and we're probably going to churn this guy anyway. The hit rates here, I think that we need a defense.
But I think number 5 has the potential to be a 600 fab guy,
and he'll be there in the 20th round.
Okay, all right. Well, we got to take a kicker and we got to take a defense, so we only have one last pick, right?
Yeah. So I would rather lean into a preferred defense, preferred kicker, and then take this guy in round 19. So,
I'm fine with that.
Let's look at, we have a defense in the queue. We also have a kicker in the queue. I'm going to load one more in. Let me load this in.
Dallas Cowboys defense. We got
Osa
Digizua. We got Kenny Clark. Maurice Liwafu.
San Francisco's an interesting. I think San Francisco's an interesting defensive option here. Minnesota.
I have the actual splits because that game's already on the site and it's free. You can go read it. But yeah, since they drafted Micah Parsons, the Cowboys have allowed 5.6 yards per play with him off the field, which should basically be 30th in the NFL. They've allowed also a 5% touchdown rate passing with him off the field. Like it's not good.
It's literally insane. I saw that Bill Barnwell tweet. It's like legitimately the craziest tweet I've ever seen. What a huge win for the Packers. Trading 2 first-round picks and extending a guy to massive contract, and it's a big one, I think. As a Giants fan who faced him twice a year. We're fragile.
Although you do hate to see the guy that you traded for needs an epidural to play in week 1.
Yeah, it's not great. Maybe
you definitely don't feel good about that.
I think it's Minnesota defense here, guys.
There you go.
I think
There you go. It all worked out. Listen, you guys both won. You guys both got the guy.
Milkshakes are shared, guys. Milkshakes are shared. All right, so we have defenses off the board. We have a free look or a Exodia round 20 tight end, and we have a kicker to go.
Well, we got to take your Exodia kicker.
We can take them. I also like free look kickers.
Who's the Exodia kicker? Is there an
Jeremy Bates? Jeremy Bates is the Exodia kicker this year. CD Lamb, we took him in the first round. Puka Nacua in round 2. Omarion Hampton in round 3. Kenneth Walker in round 4. Sam LaPorta in round 5. Then we took Rashi Rice, Jordan Addison, Deebo Samuel, Cam Skattebo in round 9. Ollie Gordon in round 10. Darnell Mooney in round 11. We triple tapped the quarterback position. Round 12, Baker Mayfield, Trevor Lawrence in round 14, Justin Herbert round 15. We took Brenton Strange in round 13 in between those quarterback runs. Then we took Jatavian Sanders in round 16, Damen Pierce in round 17, Minnesota defense in round 18. Your thoughts on this team, Rich?
I love it. I think it's really solid. I think it's got the right blend of, could be like a nice like bed of floor guys that you like, but also has like the upside outcome swings for all these guys, right? Like obviously we would love for weeks 15 through 17 to be able to trot out CD Lamb, Puka, and Rashi Rice. And then by then, is Hampton now like just firmly trucking along? Is Kenneth Walker still playing, obviously? And then do we get one of these hits, whether it be an Ollie Gordon, a Skattebo, and you're just talking about like that's just a lot of juice. Like I said, this thing, it has potential to be an absolute unit. Like if it all works out. And I know you could say that about any team that you draft or whatever, but like really, like this is kind of what you look at. It's like, hey, weeks 15 through 17, like if we're there, it's gonna be a problem for some people.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's still listening or you just tuned out once we drafted a defense, but stay watching for at the end when Theo gives his rundown on how this team is going to win us $1 million. He is so good at that.
This is an easy take, guys.
I know it
easy
is.
take,
I know
guys.
it is.
I will throw out there to you, Scott.
Drake London's out for the playoffs, which none of us want. But
no, we don't want that. We're not going to say. There's other cases for Mooney. Scott. So I'll say just as I know we're going to get into this argument because there's a guy you really, really want to take. But if we took a free look guy, we could add your guy who's probably going to go undrafted and not even be a huge fab guy. I think the free look edge is where we want to lean.
You can't do that without a kicker, right?
Well, no, we're going to take a kicker. But
you're saying you could do that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
So I think
I'll sign off on that. Yeah.
Who is that? Number 4? Is that number 4? Is that what he's...
Yeah, no, he's talking about number 3 in our queue. And I think the only way we would change that up, let me take a look at one thing, Scott. The only way we'll change that up is if a couple of guys that are ahead of him in ADP at his position go, like in these next 3 picks, then we can adjust that. We'll take your guy. But if it goes the way I think most people are done with that. I think there's one tight end I'm going to put into the queue that somebody might take, just so you see he's in the queue. We're not going to take him. I think we take one of the free look guys here, or we take our kicker.
I have no interest in that.
I just put him in the queue to show you the guy I think is going to go. I know you hate that.
Tight end. I hate it.
He's your least favorite tight end in fantasy, I think, at this point.
The only person who hates him more than me is Arthur Smith. So,
all right. So I think I put the guy in the queue that's also a free look and a position of need. I think he makes sense. Anything to add on that one, guys?
I really feel good about my tight end.
Well, I think if we play it correctly, we can add him off of waiver.
I'll trust you. You're the waiver goat. You really are the waiver goat.
I'm gonna feel bad if he's taken, but I think that like he's the kind of guy that does. I agree that there's a lot of upside cases.
I don't think he gets taken. If you feel good about it, we can risk it. Yeah.
So Harrison,
but it is funny though that he doesn't get drafted and Fannin does, when it's like kind of this. It's just very similar arguments for both.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying it's like a 4-round value, which is the same thing as the Cam Skattebo argument.
Let's take Harrison Butker here, guys, because we get a free look out of him, and he's been a successful fantasy kicker in years past.
How does the free look work at the onesies? Don't you still you'd have to still cut a guy, right? Like I always forget what it is. for the
No, you can just take
onesies.
him out of your lineup and cut him. So
You can release the guy that played.
Yes. So
all right,
we can.
I forget. I always forget what the onesies
yeah.
is. Like,
So basically, we would take him, we'd put him on the bench, and then we'd set a waiver, and it would come in through. So yeah, you don't have to like, yeah, you're good, Rich.
I always forget what the onesie spots are. If like you had to hold him for a week, I couldn't remember.
And shout out to Joe King. Deebo Samuel is going to have a good start to the year. I think Deebo's in a good spot. Deebo's in a real good spot. Joe King says you have no upside at wide receiver for the first month. You need Deebo or Mooney to go off. But I'd also argue that we don't necessarily need him to go off. We have such strength at the wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 spot, and the running back 1, running back 2 spot, barring injury, is going to give us a lot of production. LaPorta is going to give us tight end 1 production. I think like Deebo in the flex, I feel pretty good about that. And Mooney should be out there potentially in the flex.
You know what? He's not wrong. So we got.
No, he's not.
We have
to play those two guys. You have to play those two guys.
And then who's our
you
two
could play,
flex
or
spots?
you could also play Brenton Strange in week 1, Rich, where it's a game that's going to go over in tight end premium. I think that's a pretty good spot for Brenton Strange.
He's going to be a really popular DFS play in week 1. I can already tell you that.
Yeah. All right, so I think
especially with Cohen's commentary on Travis Hunter today, like that, you're going to see a lot of Brenton Strange in DFS week 1.
I'll throw one other guy in the queue that I'm just surprised he hasn't been taken, because there's been some 15th round sightings of him recently because he was very strong in the preseason. I'll just throw him in there just to get a look and see how he is. But we're sort of committed to this free look. But
I like the other Denver wide receiver personally.
Yeah, I think.
But I do think that he's not wrong about it, because like we have no other options for starting to fill those 2 spots. It has to be Mooney and Deebo. Like there's no, well, outside of Strange, you did say Strange. That's it though. Like, we only have 3 possibles to fill those 2 flexes.
Yeah,
or Skattebo just comes out of the gates, which would be so awesome.
It's
Jatavian Sanders, especially if Tremble's out. I'd feel great about that.
So I'm hoping that we get our free look guy here.
Yeah,
this will be a good way to end the draft for the vibes.
Juju Smith-Schuster.
Hey.
That's right. That's right. It always had to be Juju.
People are gonna be so mad when Juju plays a lot week 1, and like they want like
it'll be disgusting.
Like Juan Thornton to play.
Outscores Xavier Worthy.
Oh my god, I would not be able to be trusted with my phone if that happened.
All right, so we're 2 picks away from getting a very fun end game pick here, and then we're going to tell you how this team wins $1 million. Guys, all right, so I like this team, guys. This is a fun way to end the drafts, our live streams. This has been really, really good. All right, Evan McPherson goes. All right, one more pick, and then we get him. And the chat is going to go wild because they love this pick, guys.
It's the pick of the draft.
It's the pick of the draft.
You've all waited for this whole time.
I really hope we don't get sniped on this one.
We did get a couple times. We got sniped a couple times throughout here.
Yeah, we got. It was that Keaton Mitchell turn that was a little bit tilting for us, and the Denver Broncos defense.
Yeah, it was Mitchell, and there was another spot I thought too. We were really on a guy, and
What's
Drake May.
Doing?
It was Drake May, right? Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna take Lambert Smith, and we're gonna have Lambert Smith and Justin Herbert free look. This is basically how it's gonna go.
When
down,
fucking
guys.
Terrence Ferguson finishes as the overall tight end 6, you are gonna be kicking yourself.
I'm gonna hear about it over and over and over again.
This team is blessed. Because look at the freaking cross in the middle of the draft. This is my God.
The nice we're in contention for the banana. Shout out to the FFPC. If you want to jump into the FFPC streets, use the code points, get $25 off. Really, really a fun place to play fantasy. If you're at the FFPC live drafts, come over and say hi to me. Going to be drafting on Thursday and Friday. Also, we'll be drafting NFFC out in Vegas. So the way this team wins $1 million, guys, is pretty easy. CeeDee Lamb becomes the next 200 target player in the NFL. Lamb's wide receiver 1 overall season 2 seasons ago will look like peanuts compared to what we're going to get this year. CeeDee Lamb averages 26 points per game, goes full on Cooper Kupp. Puka Nacua finishes as the wide receiver 2, right behind CeeDee Lamb, has 185 targets. And guys, Puka Nacua, the whole Puka Nacua doesn't catch touchdowns argument, he has 11 touchdown catches this year, goes nuts. Omarion Hampton, we already laid it out for you. Throughout the year, he's an RB1, about the RB11, RB12, but he takes it up a notch. In the fantasy playoffs, he has six touchdowns, including 3 against Dallas in week 16. Omarion Hampton is a first-round pick in 2026 drafts. Kenneth Walker stays healthy the entire season, averages 18 points per game. Clint Kubiak, guys, is going to be in contention for a head coaching job because Kubiak, the vibes there, he's going to look at it like a genius. LaPorta, silences the haters that pushed him down to round 5, finishes as the tight end 2, leads all tight ends in receptions. Rashi Rice comes back, is Rashi Rice from weeks 1, 2, 3 last year. Easy one. Jordan Addison is Jordan Addison to end the year last year, spike week after spike week. Deebo Samuel has a vintage Samuel year, leads all wide receivers in rushing attempts, averages 15 points per game. And guys, we have a dilemma week in, week out. Which wide receiver do we bench? Because these guys are playing so well. Week 1, the New York Giants have an opportunity to beat the Washington Commanders. Tyrone Tracy, who had already fumbled 2 times, drops a touchdown in the end zone. Brian Dable drops to his knees. Cannot believe it. Russell Wilson falls to the ground, face in the grass, and that's it. It's a Cam Skattebo show. Scott Barrett goes absolutely wild on X. Skattebo starts week 2 and on. Cam Skattebo has 65 receptions in year 1, finishes as the RB18 on the season. Ollie Gordon, Devon Achane. Hey, guys, for this particular build, Devon Achane is this year's Christian McCaffrey in a bad way. Doesn't play. Ollie Gordon ends up being this year's Bucky Irving, the day 3 running back who ends up finishing with near RB1 numbers, averages 20 touches a game. Ollie Gordon looks like 2023 Ollie Gordon. Darnell Mooney. Rich, you can lay what's a great Darnell Mooney season look like to you?
He pushes like 85 catches, 1,200 yards, and we get like 8 touchdowns, 6 to 8 touchdowns. Maybe we get
okay,
more.
all right. We'll take it. We'll take it. A very.
But it's more about when it's about putting in the where the big weeks come.
Yeah. Mooney's going to give us depth throughout the year. He's our bye week filling guy, and he crushes every time we put him in the lineup. Week 17, guys, you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield has already thrown 35 touchdown passes on the year. Week 17, we get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in state against the Miami Dolphins. Pre-game, Baker Mayfield looks across the field at his teammates. He goes, guys, I got this. They need a win week 17. They're all motivated. Emeka Egbuka is been going nuts. Bucky Irving's been going nuts. Mike Evans having another strong year. Chris Godwin fully healthy. Baker Mayfield reaches in his back pocket, pops a pouch of Zyn right in his cheek, goes out there and passes for 5 touchdown passes. Baker is loose. We end up getting a 5 touchdown pass game from Baker Mayfield in the fantasy championship. And that's about it, guys. I don't have anything else, Scott.
I think that was beautiful. I think it was a thing of beauty, and we're speaking it into existence. And I think we're going to be millionaires in 6 months.
Yeah. We're going to split it up even, Steven, three spots, and we'll keep a couple credits. And if we win it all, Rich is going to come on and draft like 10 FFPC main events with us right here on Fantasy Points YouTube next season. How about that, Rich?
I mean, listen, I love it. So listen, I love always drafting with you guys. It's fun to always come on and shoot these bullets. This is the best time too, like to be drafting. Like, it's just why, because more things that crazy stuff happens. Like the boards all look different this time of the year.
Rich, you've crushed it on this channel multiple times. You were on Dynasty Points recently. You've come on School of Scott a bunch of times. You've come on my podcast as well throughout the years. Let everybody know where they can find your work throughout the season. What is like a week for Rich Hribar look like? What like where can they find it? And what's your cadence on podcasts? All that good stuff.
Yeah, a lot of pain during the season. This is the 1 week I do get to work ahead, so I have already started working ahead. But in season, I write up every single game of the season. Kind of detailed notes. If you've heard me on shows or I've read stuff in the past, I just go in deep on every game, try to every angle, things are DFS in that boat. I always do like a DFS article at the end of the week. That's like kind of like my plays or DFS, my core plays, my tournament plays, and like games I'm stacking. And then hang out with subscribers on Sunday as we kind of, go into kickoff. But I'll be on a bunch of shows throughout the course of the season. I do a show on Wednesday nights, the Pick Six at Roto Grinders. I do a show on our channel at Sharp Football Analysis called Sharp Angles with Ray Summerlin on Thursdays. I do a betting show on Fridays with Davis Maddock. I do a DFS show with Hilo, who you guys have a relationship with. Is Hilo still doing stuff with you guys this year? Or?
He just dropped a banger article, but he's not doing anything with us in season.
Yeah, well, Hilo's a great. I do a DFS show with him on
Connor
Friday.
Connor Allen was drafting alongside us. He
was 2. He said he was 2 in the draft. He came into the chat earlier.
I missed it. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then I also am going to do a show this year with Pat Crane on Fridays where
damn, you're busy.
That's awesome.
We break down kind of like our 2 articles that we do. We're breaking down games, just bouncing ideas off each other. So busy in season. It's bittersweet. Like, yes, it is a lot of work, but it's like, every time you start working a lot, you remember like I get to work in the toy store for adults, man. Like I can't take any of this for granted. I get to cover football. I'm blessed to do it. I'm grateful that people allow me to do it, give me a platform to do it. I hope more people come along for the ride with us this season. But I hope everyone, if they don't, you all have a great season. Stay blessed and hope for Rashi Rice to just come back and take us all to Titletown.
And Rich Hribar, you got to come on School of Scott with us a couple of times too. How many can we book you up for like maybe 2 or 3?
In season is always hard. It's got to be a lot of buys, and it can't be Monday or Tuesday because I didn't see my kids on Monday or Tuesday because I'm writing up all the worksheets.
We will work with your schedule. Highly recommend all of Rich's work. Make sure you check out the most recent School of Scott. Scott dropped his Exodia plays for the year. Really always a fun listen there. Check out the most recent Fantasy Football Daily. Dropped all of your preseason waiver wire content that you need. I was joined by Joe Dolan, Tom Brawley. I'm also dropping a waiver wire preseason article on fantasypoints.com. If you want to get a Fantasy Point subscription, use the code Theo2025. Get 10% off. Make your Sundays more enjoyable this year with Fantasy Points. And we'll see you guys soon. Let's crush it this season.
What?
Why are you shaking your head? You're welcome.